A reverse case is also possible. It is possible that it is you who prefer to have fractions written in this malnotation that has a particular message on fractions, and I am the one to receive that message from you. You want to inform me about a particular fraction depicting a particular or a certain magnitude in real life, but you have given your presentation, you have given your message in decimal form, and you want to give it to me. Because I prefer that you give me that message or information in vulgar form, I also wish that I have it in vulgar form. That means I should learn how to change decimal fractions to vulgar forms of fractions. That takes us to lesson objective number 13, and that is how to change decimal fractions to vulgar fractions. This section is so brief but packed with information. Please cooperate with me as I develop this brief section. In this section, we seek to learn how to convert decimal fractions to vulgar fractions. This is going to be simple enough. In fact, let us just learn how we can do that using this 0.2. Let me convert 0.2 to a vulgar fraction. We're going to convert it to a vulgar fraction by interpreting this 0.2. Do you still remember how to interpret decimal fractions? If you have forgotten, please refresh and come back to use it to be able to convert this 0.2 to vulgar fraction. Let me interpret 0.2. It simply means 2 picked out of 10 portions. Do you recall? Let me write it. What it therefore means is that 0.2 means 2 picked out of 10. And how do we write 2 picked out of 10? It is 2 over 10. Let that be written. And here it comes. 0.2, when interpreted, means 2 taken out of 10. And 2 out of 10 could also mean 10 dividing 2. Whichever way, if this is taken as a fraction, 2 over 10 is not in its lowest term. We can still break it down to its lowest term. How? We find a common factor or a factor common to 2 and 10 and divide both at the same time to yield a fraction in its lowest term. What is that factor common to 2 and 10 that can do this division at this point? It is 2. Therefore, let 2 divide 2 and let the same 2 divide 10. Please, what then turns to be the answer? As you are thinking, let me write the answer. Afterwards, you compare what you were thinking about with my answer. Please see the answer. And here it comes. It is 1 over 5. The conclusion, therefore, is that 0.2 is equal to 1 over 5, whereby this is decimal and this is vulgar. Let me write decimal under 0.2 and vulgar under 1 over 5. And that is it. 0.2 is decimal, and now it exists as 1 over 5, being vulgar. Was that straightforward enough? Of course, you should. Notice the way the conversion was done. Just by interpreting the decimal fraction, we were able to get the vulgar fraction. As simple as that. Therefore, anytime you want to convert a decimal fraction to vulgar fraction, it is as simple as what we get after interpreting that decimal fraction and rewriting it in a vulgar form. And if possible or necessary, you convert it to its lowest term. Let us see another example, and afterwards, you check whether you have known how to convert decimal to vulgar fractions. And here is the second example. It says 0.02. Now you have seen that it is equal to 2 over 100, I hope you know how 2 over 100 came to be. Surely you should have known that it came from interpreting this decimal fraction. 0.02 simply means 2 picked out of 100. Recall that if you compare it with this 0.2, 0.02 contains 2 decimal places, while 0.2 contains just 1 decimal place. 1 decimal place means that there is 1 0 in the power of 10 from which these 2 have been picked, and that is just 10. In this second example, we have 2 decimal places, showing that there are 2 zeros in the power of 10 from which these 2 have been picked. What is that? It is 100. So at this point, after interpreting 0.02 in vulgar form, that is possibly after we convert this to lowest term, we're going to see the alternative to 0.02. Let this 2 over 100 be reduced to its lowest term. And here it comes, 2 over 100. This is also percentage by coincidence because 2 are picked out of 100. But now 1 over 50 is vulgar. Therefore, from decimal fraction to vulgar fraction, picking 2 out of 100 is the same thing as picking 1 out of 50. Let us see another example. And here comes the example. The example says 0.125. This is a decimal fraction, and we want to convert it to vulgar fraction. How is it to be done? Just the same way as before. How? Interpret 0.125. Now, let me interpret it. The next line of action interprets it. It thinks that 125 were picked out of 1,000. I hope you know why that conclusion was reached, that 125 were picked out of 1,000. It is because in this 0.125, there are 3 decimal places. Because we have that number of decimal places, the implication is that we have 3 zeros in the power of 10 from which 125 were picked. Which power of 10 possesses 3 zeros? It is 1,000. That is how we came to write 1,000. So 0.125 is equal to 125 over 1,000. This is already a fraction. Let us reduce it to its lowest term. This is also a fraction, but in decimal form. This has begun to change to vulgar, but has not changed fully. Therefore, we reduce 125 over 1,000 to lowest term. How is it done? We get the highest common factor of 125 and 1,000. What is that factor? Highest factor common to 125 and 1,000. If you think, at a point you conclude that 125 is the highest common factor. So 125 can divide itself, and 125 can also divide 1,000. How? Let's see. And here it comes. It is equal to 1 over 8. When 125 divides itself, it is 1. When 125 divides 1,000, it is 8. Therefore, from decimal form to vulgar form, 0.125 has become 1 over 8. Let us see yet one more example. An example comes, it is 1.5. This is not a pure decimal. If you watch the previous examples, they all began with 0, but this began with 1. The implication is that this is not pure decimal. It is just after this dot we have decimal. The first part of that expression is a whole number. Therefore, this is better referred to as mixed number. A whole number plus decimal is called a mixed number, or a whole number plus fraction is called mixed number. In any case, because it has this dot, the same way others were converted to vulgar fractions is the way 1.5 will be converted to vulgar fraction or mixed number, which will include a vulgar fraction. Again, this 1.5 shows one decimal place. The implication is that 15, not 5, 15 were picked out of a part of 10 that has 1 0 in 8. Which part of 10 has 1 0 in 8? It is 10. Therefore, it is as if we have 15 over 10. If you say picked out of 10, that is impossible. So we refer to it as divided by 10. Therefore, 1.5 is the same thing as 15 divided by 10. If we convert this into mixed number, what will it be? When 10 divides 15, or when 10 persons pick from the 15, at least one person will pick one full portion or one full thing or one full item, and 5 will remain for the 10 to divide again. Let me first write one whole number 5 over 10. And here it is, one whole number 5 over 10. This 5 over 10 is not yet in its lowest term. Let me further convert this to its lowest term. And here comes the final answer. It is one whole number 1 over 2. I hope you know why. The 1 is still here. 5 over 10 is to be reduced to lowest term. How? We find a factor common to 5 and 10, the highest one possibly, that we divide them both at the same time, and then the answer is written. What is that common factor? It is 5. When 5 divides itself, the result is 1. When 5 divides 10, the result is 2. Therefore, 1.5 is the same thing as saying one whole number 1 over 2. 1 is not a fraction, but a full number. But 1 over 2 is a vulgar fraction. Therefore, this is a mixed number. Now, find out if you have been following what I've been saying from the start of this section. Watch out for an exercise. And here comes the checkpoint. It says, via interpretation, convert the following decimal fractions to vulgar notation. The first is 0.8, that's number 1. Then number 2, 0.08. Number 3 is 1.05. This is not actually a decimal fraction. It is a mixed number. Then number 4, 2.85.